Hello fish fools, Jeff here. So this is my 6-foot 84-gallon community display tank. There's 15 species of fish in here. So it's looking good overall. So it's been a while since I've shown this aquarium. Really, it's been a while since I've shown any of my aquariums, and that's because I've been focusing on my outdoor tub pond. Since I discovered there are wild mollies in the Las Vegas wash, made a couple attempts to collect some and stock my outdoor tub, but yeah, things are still going on inside with my aquariums, and this is my main display tank I enjoy watching. So, some bad news. The Betta is not looking good. Looks like I might have dropsy. Her scales are kind of pine cone, and there's looks like a gash on her right side. Just checking it out today, noticing that she's like bloated and her scales are sticking out like that, but I did kind of notice a sort of a white discoloration on her side, but she otherwise seemed fine. I think she's now succumbing to whatever that is, but all the other fish are looking good. The adult Kribensis, yeah, you can see that's the female. They have their lair under the mopaniwood here. Whenever I notice some of the gravel on top of the mopaniwood, it's from them digging it out. And the male is looking nice and red. The female is nice and colorful too, so they may be getting ready to spawn. And their first batch of babies, like they have spawned a couple times. Before these hatched out, I never even saw the eggs from this batch, but I did see eggs before that batch and last. But yeah, so these babies are getting big. They're not babies anymore, and now I think I can sex them. The males will have pointier dorsal fins and anal fins, where the females are more rounded and the males are bigger. So yeah, there's got to be at least 20 of them. They're spread out all over the tank. So yeah, it's going to reach a point where I'm going to have to unload some. As I mentioned before, I do have a female in one of my 40-gallon community tanks, and just a lone female in there. So one of these males was the plan, that once I got these two to breed, and then that's how I would get a male for her, and then I'll probably put another pair in a 20-gallon tank that I can set up for them. And then what I kind of have in mind is the original parents to continue keeping their territory, and then maybe another pair some of their babies will pair up and maybe spawn in another area. Yeah, so I did lose some fish along the way. So this peaked at a 16 species tank, and that was this Otocinclus made 16 species, so that is doing well. It's the only one. It's put on some size. It was pretty skinny. It was the only one that lasted in quarantine from the few that I bought. at that time. I'm put in here. And there is a black molly. So I had a pair, a male and a female. That is the female, and the male is nowhere to be found. It just disappeared. I never did see its body. It must have just died and then rotted or gotten eaten. There's snails in here, so they probably disposed of it before I could find it. This old female swordtail is looking elderly. I did lose a couple other swordtails. The giant green female, one of the originals that I had from my 29 gallon. That is actually got her in this one around the same time. Very old, like 4 years old. Yeah, lost her. The red swordtail is gone. And one of the really unfortunate things was, as I mentioned, it peaked at 16 species, but now it's 15. I expect soon to be 14 after I don't think the Betta's gonna hang on much longer. But I lost all the pandagaras. Those were really fun fish, fun to watch. Added a lot of nice dynamics to the tank, just the way they come up against the glass and kind of swim together, and yeah, I did lose those. I don't really know what happened. I suspected maybe the Kribensis mauled them, because it was right when they were spawning, when these guys were first hatched out. That's when I lost the first few. But then at that time, I had gone a while without a water change. I was overdue, and when I lost the first few, then the others kind of looked a little lethargic. Then I did a water change, and they kind of perked up, and then they were fine. But I didn't really think anything might have been wrong with the water, because really one of the things that I gauge the health of the tank is based on the Rummy nose Tetras. As long as their noses are nice and red and rummy, I feel like everything is okay. But then, yeah, so I lost a couple of the pandagaras. I think like half of them I had 6. And then a little while later, because the ones that I lost initially together, and then the others weren't looking so good, did a water change, they looked better, and then they started behaving the same as they always had. They were fine, and then time passed again, and I was overdue for a water change, and then they weren't looking so good, and they died suddenly, the last ones. But again, the rest of the fish were okay, so I don't really know what happened there. And I don't even remember now, but I think I had 3 Siamese algae eaters in here, and now there's 2. So I must have just lost one without realizing. But the 2 that I have in here are big. That is one of them. And I believe I lost one of the Roseline sharks. I was kind of hoping I could get some of the swordtails or the molly to have some babies, but I put the Scissortail in here and thought maybe that might give them some cover, but I still have not seen any grow up in here. And now that I lost the male, Black Molly, kind of figured the female was pregnant, but yeah. But I do expect I do intend to get another black molly male. This is the third Betta, so I'm not sure. I mean, at some point I'll probably get another replacement, but I haven't had them live very long. Maybe, I think the one I had that lived the longest might have been 10 months or so. And the emerald green corydoras, they have not spawned in a while. There was a stretch where they were just breeding like crazy. But lately, all this tank has been fed is flake food and some pellet food, mostly just flake food. I haven't made rapashi in a while, and that's really what I believe triggered a lot of the corridor spawning, but also cooler temperatures. So through the summer, it was even going back to like last year. It was after the summer when the temperature started dropping, then that's when they started spawning. So I mean, it's still warm here in southern Nevada. Still mid to upper 90s, so once the temperature does drop, it'll drop suddenly, and I expect that's when I'll find the corridors spawning again. And Glowlight Tetras, looking cool. An underrated fish in my opinion, and I think they are nice to have in the mix of all these community fish, and of course the Odessa barbs. That's a female, and the males are nice and red. And the Scissortail rasboras. Those can grow pretty big, so yeah, but my biggest ones are, I think that's one of the biggest ones, pretty huge. And there's the pearl Gourami. That thing's pretty big. I got it a couple years ago. It was pretty small. Yeah. Tank is looking good. And there's two brilliant rasboras. The very first fish I added to this tank was a lone brilliant rasbora, and then at some point later I added the second one. Haven't been able to find more. I'd like to get a group of them. But for now, it's just the two. That's one of the two. I mean, right, yeah, there's the other one. But actually, when I found it, I was going to mention that since I added the second one, they hang out. But then, just finding that one that at first it was by itself, and then, yeah. They stay together for the most part. Yeah, I'd still like to get a group of them. I think it'd be really cool to see maybe like 10 of them schooling together. All right. Well, that's it for now. And remember, I'm Jeff, and I enjoy fishies. Thanks for watching.